Now we'll be starting with the next accounting standard, that is AS 18. Sir, would it make any difference if construction of the asset would not have been would not have been ended by the end of the year? Sir, no, your treatments would have been same treatments, because anyhow the construction will be continued in the next year. So for this year, construction was full inactive. For this full year, interest will be capitalized. And next year, if say construction completed in 6 months, so in next year, only 6 months interest will be capitalized. Right? Because after 6 months, your interest will cease to capitalize. Let us start with the next topic, that is AS 18, related party disclosures, a very small accounting standard. If everything is correct, we will complete the standard. In the morning batch, questions are pending because lots and lots of doubts and queries. Many students are there in the morning batch. So we left out with the questions. But if we are in a position to complete question, is it possible that morning batch students sometimes join in the evening batch? Is it happens? Okay. I have sent the notes yesterday only to your relevant branches here. Come on now. And the branch people have already forwarded to you. Chennai, Coimbatore, Hubli, Bangalore. Now only 4 cities people are there over here. Na? Hubli, Chennai, Bangalore and Coimbatore. For Bangalore and Hubli, I have already sent it to Suman madam. And she told she has sent it to you. For Chennai and Coimbatore, I sent it to Shayu madam. She has sent to you. So on individual basis, please don't ask everybody send me the notes. It will become very difficult for me. I've already sent, and I think yesterday also AS 18 I sent it to you people also at night while the lecture was being ended. Right. So let us start with the session now. AS 18, related party disclosures. Now, so the name itself suggests that this is a disclosure related standard. So here the focus is on disclosing certain relevant information with respect to related parties, as well as the transactions that you do with the related parties during the reporting period. Now when I use the word reporting period, means I am talking about that period when you are making your financial statements. Now can I say, sir, we make our financial statements generally from 1st April to 31st March, right? So for us, 1st April to 31st March is the reporting period. So during the reporting period, if you have entered into a transaction with your related parties, then you have to disclose those transactions as per AS 18 in the notes to accounts. Plus, you also have to disclose the relations with the related parties, means how you are becoming related with them. Right? Now, many people might be wondering, sir, what is this related parties? So, sir, as per AS 18, we have a proper definition of related parties. And the definition will consume almost 45 minutes to 1 hour. If you are comfortable with the definition, topic is over, because the definition will only take maximum time. Rest all will take only 15 or 20 minutes. The disclosure requirements will take not even 5 minutes also. Right? So, why was this accounting standard made? What was the reason behind it? Now, please understand, related party means what, two companies or two enterprises or one individual and an enterprise can be related. Related because of holding subsidiary relations. In simple terms, I'm saying, holding and subsidiary companies are related parties, sir. Co-venturers and the joint venture is related party, sir. Associate company in which I am investing is a related party, right? If I am a major shareholder in a company, I and company become related parties. If I am a strong managerial person in the company, say I am the CEO of a company, so generally the CEOs and head honkos of the companies are called as KMPs, key managerial persons. Have you heard this word anytime before? KMP, key managerial person. Have you heard this word? Key managerial person. A key managerial person are the very powerful people of the enterprise who have a significant influence on the enterprise. Significant influence means they can change the decision making of the company. And technically, if I am the CEO of a company, means major decision makings are done by whom? Because CEO, Chief Executive Officer, means it's a big position. Correct? Right? So these are the people, those who are related parties. Right? In short, I have said, I will be talking in detail, don't worry. So in short, now sir, what happens now when these two related parties meet? They do transactions with each other. Sir, do transactions, we don't have a problem. But sir, please do the transactions at arm's length price. Arm's length price means fair value. Please do fair value transactions. Don't do the transactions on such values which would lead to window dressing of financial statements. Window dressing means unnecessary overstating some enterprises' profits and understating other enterprises' profit. Because for one person it is an income, so for other it will be an expense. So for example, I want high expenses and you want income. So we will try to enter into a transaction of say sale of goods at a very high selling price. So you will get higher income, I will get higher expense. And these are done for evasion of taxes also. Because you might have heard one thing, that higher the income, higher will be your tax. Right? Lower income, lower is your tax. So how to lower your income? Show higher expenses. How to show higher income? Sir, show unnecessary inflated incomes. Automatically your incomes will go up. So what happens now? Generally, these related parties, they try to involve in such a transactions which are not on fair values. And it is beneficial for only the enterprises, but it is not beneficial for the investors. It is not beneficial for the tax authorities. It is not beneficial for the government authorities. So to avoid such things, what should be done? Sir, simple thing. You make it mandatory for these enterprises to report any such transactions or any transactions that you do between the related parties. So this was the main objective of AS18. So when AS18 came into picture, people tried not to go for such transaction, because if you enter into a transaction with related party, it has to be disclosed in the notes to accounts. So if you are doing any unfair transaction, that unfair transaction should also be disclosed in the notes to accounts. Sir, what if I am doing fair transactions, sir? I am not doing anything unfair, sir. I do everything fair transaction. Should I disclose in the notes to accounts as a related party transaction? The answer is yes. Even if you are doing an arm's length transaction means fair value transaction. Still, disclosure as per AS18 is mandatory. So I'll just read the objective for you now. Sometimes the transactions between related parties lose the feature and character of arm's length transaction. Means feature and character means they don't follow arm's length transaction, they go for an unfair practice. Hence, disclosure of related transactions is essential for proper understanding of financial performance and financial position of the enterprise. So if these transactions are disclosed, then as a user, you will come to know that how the company is performing and how is the financial position. Means, say for example, sir, during the year, I sold goods only worth rupees 5 lakhs, hence making a profit of only 1 lakh. But sir, since I'm having a lower income, right, I would require more income. So what did I do? I entered into an unfair transaction with my related party. And what did I do? I sold goods worth 50 lakhs to my related party. And hence my total sales at 55 lakh and total profit at 20 lakhs. So as an investor, wow, company is super, 55 lakh sale, 20 lakh net profit. But sir, when I see the disclosures, I will come to know that, sir, 50 lakh rupees sale it has done to a related party only. And 19 lakh profit he has earned out of that 50 lakh sale. So the company is completely dependent on the related party only, because in the market it is able to generate only a sales of 5 lakh. So can I make a proper decision as an investor now? Because I have the information available in the notes to accounts, right? And sir, I'll tell you one thing now. Some companies are just made for routing the incomes or expenses. They are just making to route it. Means rather to show it directly in my profit and loss account, I will make a sister concern of mine and show the revenue or income over there to evade the taxations and all. Right? Means simple. I'll give you a simple example. Now I am a earning person and I fall in the 30% tax slab. Now you have already seen the individual tax rates, right? Up to 2,50,000 no tax, 2,50,000 to 5 lakh 10%, 5 lakh to 20 lakh, 5 lakh to 10 lakh 20%, and about 10 lakh 30%. So sir, I am proud to be at a 30% slab rate, right? So what I can do is, already I'm earning a lot of money in form of consultancy fees and professional fees from education, right? Now I have some properties also on my name on which I get rent, and I invest a lot in stock exchange also. So practically all those revenue also is taxable to me only. So some people, what they'll do, they will start investing in the name of spouse. Now my wife is a homemaker, so she is not doing any job or anything like that. She is at home, so I can see a 2,50,000 exemption in her. No income. So what I can do, enter into a transaction with her, and now shifting all my share transactions on her name. So whatever profit now she is earning will be taxable to her, but technically that is my profits only which I have shifted to her. To do what? Evade tax. Right. So such transactions, I'm giving you, this is one of the example. So this is how related parties do transaction. So one will evade tax, other will get the benefit of it. So that is why these disclosures are important. I hope you are understanding the basic idea of this topic. Right now, the most important point is to understand the definition of the related party. Once you are understood with the definition, sir, then the topic is literally over. Because in exam, when they give a question, by reading the question, you should come to know, you should come to know whether it is a related party or not. Yes, Revati, there is clubbing of income, but we are chartered accountants. We know how to play, right? So sweet. Revati is giving, sir, there is clubbing of income, so how can you evade tax? Sir, we are chartered accountants and we have the techniques and we have the ideas. You will also learn it, don't worry. Right? So we know how to route it, and clubbing provision will also not be applicable. Correct? Don't worry, you will learn it. You are in inter now. When you will clear your CA and start doing some practice work, you will learn it. Don't worry. Right? So let us start now with the definition part of related party. Now, sir, the first paragraph of the definition. Now, before going, I'll just put one more point. This AS is applicable to level 1 enterprise and level 2 enterprise only. And all types of companies. All type of companies means we have only two companies. Right? Large company, small company. Large company is level 1, small company is level 2. But still I have written properly. Level 1, level 2, and all types of companies. So, partnership firms, proprietorships falling in level 1 and level 2, but partnerships and proprietors falling in level 3, AS18 not applicable. Correct? And AS18 is applicable to large company as well as small and medium companies. It is applicable to both the type of companies. Right? That is the applicability part. Now we go for the definition of related party. Now, sir, when I say that I am related to some enterprise, say I am Karan Limited, and I can see on my screen Vansh, right? Vansh Doshi. Yes, it is Vansh Doshi. Yes, okay. I can see Vansh on my screen. So I'll say Karan Limited, Vansh Limited, right? So Karan Limited and Vansh Limited can be related party, can be related party, and our relation can be because of any of the two factors. Factor number one, control. Factor number one, control means I can control or Vansh can control my enterprise. Means if I am controlling Vansh enterprise means I am the holding company of Vansh and Vansh is my subsidiary. Or as an enterprise, I have the control over the board of directors of Vansh Limited. Now, how can I have a control on Vansh Limited's board of directors if I am the holding? Because all the directors of Vansh company will work as per my orders only, na? Because I am the holding, right? Then I can also say that I can control Vansh Limited by having a substantial interest in his enterprise. Substantial interest means having 20% or more voting power, right? So first way of defining a relation is through control. So control can be derived in three ways. First, by ownership of greater than 50% stake, that is holding company and subsidiary company, or by having a control over the board of directors of the other company. So how can I have a control on the board of other company? Sir, when I am a major stakeholder, right? Generally, if I am a greater than 50% stakeholder and I hold Vansh, all his board of directors will work as per my orders. Yes. And thirdly, I can say that I have a control on Vansh enterprise if I am having minimum 20% or greater. That is called a substantial interest in Vansh enterprise. Right? That is through control. Or I can also have a relation with Vansh enterprise in the form of significant influence. Significant influence means I can significantly influence the decision making, significantly influence the decision making, financial decision, managerial decisions of Vansh enterprises. Right? So, how can significant influence be derived? So, significant influence be derived when we have in common a key managerial person. Means my CEO and one of his director are same person. The person who is CEO in my company is also a director in his company, right? And that person is so powerful that he can influence both of us. So because of that one person, I can say that I'm having a significant influence on the enterprises. So they can become a related party. So I have just drawn a flowchart over here, the classification of related parties. So you can be a related party either by the way of control or either by the way of significant influence. Now, when I say you are related by control, means you have a ownership that is minimum 51%. Now, when I say 51% means you are holding in subsidiary relation, control over board of directors, or control by substantial interest in voting power that is greater than or equal to 20% stake. So, if your relation is because of any of these three factors, if you are related to some enterprise because of any of these three factors, you can say your relation is by the way of control, right? And your relation can be also by way of significant influence. Now, how can be significant influence derived? You represent the board of directors, means you are a key managerial person. So if a key managerial person is there and that key managerial person can actually change the decision making of the company, you can say that the key managerial person is a related party to the enterprise. Participating in policy making, again, you are a key managerial person. And please leave the last one, material intercompany transaction. Now, this I think I told you. Let's say, for example, I am the CEO. I am the CEO of A Limited, and I'm also the CEO of B Limited. Can I be CEOs of both the companies? Maybe, sir. Maybe, possible. Right? So I am CEO of A Limited, I'm also the CEO of B Limited. Now, can I say I can significantly influence both these enterprises? Yes or no? I can control A also, I can control B also. Right? So I can simply say that because of me, A and B are also related parties. Because of me, common person, because I can say A Limited, sell goods to B. I can say to B, buy goods from A. So because of me, who has a significant influence on both these companies will also be considered as a related party by calling significant influence. See, material intercompany transactions, because you have a KMP in common, or you have common shareholders. Common shareholders means, I'll give you one more example, same like KMP. Sir, I hold 30% voting power in one company, 30% stakeholder in one company, A Limited. And I also own 40% in B Limited. Now, can I say, sir, owning 30% and 40% stake is a big man? So I am a very big shareholder and I can technically influence the companies. I can say A Limited that you have to provide service to B Limited at this value only. And I can compel B Limited to take the services from A Limited only. Yes or no? I have that much power. So I can say that I have a significant influence on both these enterprises. So technically, both these enterprises become related parties because of me. Right? So your related parties relations can be because of control or can be because of significant influence. So let us now try and understand the definition. Right? Now, in definition, there are total 5 points. Point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And technically, point number 1 and 2. Point number 1 and 2 talk about control. Talk about control. Point number 3. Point number 3 also talks about control. But point number 4 and 5 will talk about significant influence. Right? So please try and understand the definition. Definitions are not that easy, so you have to purely focus. Right? Don't do here and there, don't write anything. PDFs are already being forwarded to you, so please focus. That's it. Now I'll read this again. Related party is essentially any party that controls or significantly influences the management or operating policies of the company during the reporting period. So technically, related parties can be parties that have a control or they have a significant influence on the decision making of other company. Right? So relation can be either by way of control or by way of significant influence. The following related party relationships are as follows. Point number 1. I'll first read this fully. I promise you that you will not understand anything. And then I will break up the first part or first point into 3 or 4 different points. Then you will start to understand one point. So I'll read the entire point in one shot. What it says: enterprises that directly or indirectly through one or more intermediaries control or are controlled by or under common control with reporting enterprise. This includes holding companies, subsidiary, and fellow subsidiaries. Say you did not understand anything, or is anybody who has understood anything and would like to explain us? Enterprises that directly or indirectly through one or more intermediaries control or are controlled or are under common control or with the reporting enterprise. Now, sir, before going ahead, in simple terms, I would just like to say one thing. Sir, we always believe in two-sided love. We never believe in one-sided love, sir. One-sided love is risky, right? And it could lead to suicide also. So when we are talking about relations over here, we are talking about two-sided relations, right? We never talk about one-sided relations, sir. We'll always go for two-sided relations. Means, if a holding company says that subsidiary is related to me, the subsidiary will also say that yes, holding is related to me. So it will always be a two-sided relation, right? It will never be a one-sided relation. Always understand. So if a holding says that yes, subsidiary is related, subsidiary cannot say no, no, I am not related to holding. I will not do the disclosure. That is not possible. So if holding is related to subsidiary, so subsidiary is also related to the holding. I hope this point is clear. So there is always two-sided relations. There cannot be a single-side relation. Always understand that. Correct? Now I'll break up this for you. Enterprises that directly controls. Enterprises that directly controls another enterprise. So if you are directly controlling some another enterprise, directly controlling means you have a controlling stake. Controlling stake means minimum greater than 50%. So if you are owning greater than 50% stake in any company, you can say that you are directly controlling that company. So technically, the first and second point that we are learning is applicable to companies only, because partnerships and proprietorships don't come over here. Partnership, proprietorship will come from point number 3 onwards. For point number 1 and 2, we will be purely talking about holding, subsidiary, associates, investors, and joint ventures. So these are all company parts. So see the first example on your screen. A Limited is having greater than 50% stake in B Limited. So as per the first point, I will say A directly holds or A directly controls B. So technically, A is the A is the holding company and B is the subsidiary company. Right? So A directly controls B. So A will say that B, my subsidiary, is related to me, and it will be a two-way relation. So B will say A, my holding company, is also related to me. That is called as enterprises that directly controls. I hope you're understanding this. Direct control means it is holding and subsidiary relation. Direct control means holding and subsidiary relation. Correct? Now, the second part. Enterprises that indirectly, enterprises that indirectly through one or more intermediaries control the other enterprise. Means I am one company, and with the help of an intermediary, I say that I am indirectly controlling a third enterprise. I'll repeat my point. I am one company, right? With the help of an intermediate in between, with the help of that, I say that I am controlling a third company. So please understand the second example, right? Enterprises that indirectly through one or more intermediaries control the other enterprise. So please understand this second example. There is one company called as A Limited, right? And A Limited holds greater than 50% stake in B Limited. So can I say A directly controls B? That is clear to everybody. Then sir, this B company is holding greater than 50% stake in C company. So can I say now B is the holding of C and B directly controls C, right? But sir, who is B? Sir, B is a subsidiary of A, right? So A will say with the help of the intermediary B, I am indirectly controlling C. Because what is C? C is subsidiary for A. And subsidiary is also technically indirectly controlled by the main holding only. So here I can simply say that A will control B directly and A will indirectly control C because of this intermediary B. Simple, right? Correct. But please understand here, if B is the subsidiary of A, right, and C is subsidiary of B, then only the indirect relationship can come. Huh? Please understand that. Because technically A owns B, because 50, greater than 50% means B is completely held by A, all the management powers, and B is having a direct control on C. So because of the B limited over here, I can say I'm indirectly controlling C also. So whatever conditions I have written here should be fulfilled. So now some people will start making their own examples in mind. You make your own example, but see, my conditions should be satisfied. Because in morning batch, one student asked me, please listen to this also. One student asked me, sir, what if B is having only 30% stake in C? What if B is having 30% stake in C? Then can A indirectly control C? Not possible, sir, because what is the condition? Greater than 50. Because in this case, Are sir, B will also not control C because B is having only 30% stake. And by having 30% stake, you cannot have a controlling power in any of the enterprise. To have a controlling stake, minimum 50% greater stake you should have. So in this case, what I will conclude, if B holds 30% in C, then I can say that B and C are only related to each other because of the associate relation. A cannot be made related to C. A cannot be made related to C. Right? Because A does not indirectly control C over here. I hope you are understanding this point. Right? Now, as I told, sir, it is a two-way relation. We don't believe in one way, it is always two-way. Right? So, from here, the two-way relation starts. Or are controlled by. So, B will say, sir, I am controlled by A. C will say, I am controlled by B. Or C will say, I am indirectly controlled by A. So it's a two-way relation, correct? And the last part, or are under common control with the reporting enterprise. So for the common control point, you have to understand the third situation, right? Now here two enterprises will commonly control one third enterprise. So please understand this example. Sir, we have A Limited, who is having greater than 50% stake in B Limited. Now, sir, whatever examples you are making or you are going to ask me doubt when I stop, sir, whatever doubt you are asking me now, please first put in this particular situation. And if all my percentages, whatever I have written, if that is satisfied, then only your answer will be positive. Right? If your percentages are differing, then I will not say that they are related parties. Now, please understand this situation. A Limited is having greater than 50% stake in B. So can I say A has a direct control on B? Means A is the holding company of B, correct? Now, what is happening? A also owns 40% stake in C. And B owns 30% stake in C. Now, can I say, sir, A and B are one and the same only, na, sir? Because they are holding and subsidiary companies, correct? Yes or no? So if A is having 40% in C and B is having 30% in C, technically they have 70% stake in C Limited. Yes or no? And having 70% in C Limited, can I say they both together can control C? Yes or no? See, technically C will not become the subsidiary of A or it will not become the subsidiary of B, because to become a subsidiary, you should have greater than 50% stake. I hope you get that point. But sir, since here A and B are holding a subsidiary, technically A and B are the same enterprises only. And if they are having together 70% stake in C, can I say they can combine together control C? Because they are the 70% owners, means 50 more, greater than 50% ownership is with combined A and B. So can I say management will be theirs? Yes or no? They will have a combined management in C, right? So in this case, I would say A and B combinedly control C. That is this point, or are under common control with the reporting enterprise. So say I am making the financial statements of A. So I am the reporting enterprise, right? Under common control. So I am having a common control in B. I and B, right? A limited and B limited combinedly control C limited. That is called as what? Under common control. And in the bracket they have written, this includes holding subsidiary companies that we understood and fellow subsidiaries also. Now fellow subsidiaries, please understand the fourth example. Now what is written in the fourth example? Sir, there is one holding company and it has got two subsidiaries. And we are saying that subsidiary means that it is always direct control. Subsidiary means what? You are holding greater than 50% stake. So if you are holding greater than 50% stake in an enterprise, you always have a direct control. So holding and subsidiary 1 are related parties to each other. Holding and subsidiary 2 are also related parties to each other. But now think, is S1 and S2 related to one another? The answer is yes, because S1 and S2 are called as what? Fellow subsidiaries. So if 2-3 enterprises have a common holding company, those 2-3 enterprises are called as fellow subsidiaries, and fellow subsidiaries are related parties as per the first point. I hope you are understanding this point. And sir, one conclusion we can make as per the first point, to have a direct or indirect control, having greater than 50% stake is important. If you don't have a greater than 50% stake, you are as of now not a related party. So technically, the point number 1 has a narrower scope, because sir, it is not always possible that a company will always have greater than 50% stake in other company. Yes or no? Some company can have 25 or 30% stake in other company. So such companies are actually left out from the scope. But not for too long, because we didn't start the point number 2 yet. When point number 2 comes, the scope widens. Point number 2 actually reduces the feasibility of point number 1, because point number 1 is talking about holding and subsidiary relations, and holding and subsidiary relations come in only when greater than 50% stake is available. Correct? So technically, having greater than 50% stake in enterprises, the scope becomes narrower. So they put point number 2. And when point number 2 comes, relevance of point number 1 is reduced and scope widens. Because in point number 2, the first point is associates. Associates are related parties. Now, you know who are associates? Sir, associate means you hold substantial interest in other company. Means only 20% or greater. So it means technically, if you are having holding of 20% or greater in another enterprise, you will still be related party. So can I say the relevance of point number 1 is reduced by point number 2? So in point number 1, everybody will know, sir, greater than 50% stake, then only we will be related party, or not, sir. But as soon as the second point comes, they wrote associates. Associate means what? If one enterprise has greater than 20% stake in another enterprise, that enterprise becomes associates. Now, people, I'm not starting with the second point. Anybody with any sort of issues with the first point, they can raise your doubt, right? After that, we'll go for the second point. What if the fellow subsidiaries have some 40% and 30% stake in another company, say? What happens to the relation to holding company and another company? Sir, holding company and those other companies cannot be related, sir. Cannot be related because there is no indirect control. Because see, when you are an associate with other company, na, you don't have that direct control. Right? So if you don't have a direct control, how will your holding have an indirect control? Please apply that common sense. Means in this case, if B cannot directly control C, if in this case B cannot directly control C, then how the hell can A indirectly control C? A can indirectly control C only when B has a direct control on C. So with the help of B, means I don't know whether you people understand this or not. In Hindi, there is one saying. In Hindi, there is one saying, दूसरे के कंधे पे बंदूक रख के गोली मारना. Means keeping a gun on somebody else's shoulder and firing. So if anything happens, it will happen to that person. You are safe. His shoulder will be damaged. Nothing will be done to you. So here that is the same logic. A is keeping the gun on B's shoulder and firing on C. Are you getting this? That is called as the indirect control. But if I say that B holds only 30% stake in C, so B and C will have an associate relations. So when you have that associate relations, the holding of this company cannot have indirect control. Because associates, then only B and C will be related to one another. A and C cannot now be related. Right? Sir, second example and third example is different. In third example, you are having a common control. In second example, where A is having a stake in C. If A is having a stake in C, then it becomes the third example. Why are you asking me a question? The solution is in front of you only. Yes, Mr. Aditya.
Sir, in the fourth example, just a clarification. S2 will say that S1 is its related party because it's a fellow subsidiary, and the holding company is the holding company. So both of it becomes a related party. Okay, sir. Sir, in the second example, like how many? Yes, sir. Got it. Sir, in the second example, like how many layers can it be there? For example, if C has a 50% stake in D, D has an E, so will A say that all the four are its related?
Yes, because end of the day, A is the main father.
Okay.
Means
okay,
A
sir.
is the karta of the family now. Please understand.
Got it.
He is great grandfather.
Yes,
He is
sir.
grandfather. He is father. Then he is son. So that is how the hierarchy goes.
Okay.
So the blood actually comes from
Okay,
where?
sir.
From the great grandfather. Your family starts from the great grandfather. So all
Yes,
are
sir.
related.
Understood.
So
Yes, sir.
in
And in the third example, like, is there?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Third example.
In the third example, is there any specific reason for it being 40% and 30%?
No, only I had to make it above 50. I can write 26 and 25 also. But it should be greater than 50. Because if you have
Oh, it should be
than 50,
greater than 50. Okay.
yes, then only A and B
Okay.
can combinedly run a management in C.
Okay.
That is how they will
Got
get a
it, sir.
combined control.
Understood,
Right?
sir. Thank you.
Now, 1 minute,
Yes,
one
thank you.
student. Sir, in fourth example, say S1 and S2 jointly control S3 new company. S1 and S2 jointly control new company. Okay. Then are H and S3 related? Sir, what is their individual stakes? If it is, say, S1 is holding 30% and S2 is holding 30%. So together they hold 60% in S3. Right? So I can say that S1 and S2 are commonly controlling S3. So S1, S2, S3 are related. Right? But H, I cannot say that H is related to S3. Because here S1 and S3 or S2 and S3 are having that associate relations. So the holding will not be related. Yes, Soumya.
Sir, as you said in a second example, A holds a 50% of B, but A doesn't hold anything about C company.
No.
In third example, if in case A company does not, A company will hold 10% of C company, then also we can say that indirect relationship, indirect party.
No. In third example, you are talking, in third example.
Yes, sir.
No, because A plus B total, it is only 40% then. And 40% does not allow them to commonly control. To have a common control, you should have greater than 50% stake.
Sir, if B holds 50%, but A holds 10%, then we can say, sir.
Then they commonly have 60% together. Then yes.
I'm saying individually, sir. For A company separate, for B company separate. Not combining, sir.
Then only B will be C. Now you're all making hypothetical statements. Now, if A and B are holding in subsidiary companies, then and both of them together, both their holdings will always be considered together only for the common control. So even if A is individually having 10 and B is individually having 50, total is 60%, they will commonly control C. They cannot have individual controls.
Okay, sir. Got it.
They
Thank you,
cannot
sir.
have individual controls. Unless A
Okay.
and B are not, unless A and B don't have the direct relation with them.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Means if A and B are not holding subsidiary. Yes, Vansh.
So in fourth example, sir, in fellow subsidiaries, like is it theoretically or practically possible that one subsidiary hold few stakes of the other subsidiary also?
Maybe yes.
So suppose
Yes, it is
like
possible.
so, sir, if you take example, a holding company directly controls two subsidiaries, and S2 holds 20% of S1. So, can that holding and S2 combinedly control that S1?
Sir,
Because
why you require the combined control? H is already the holding of S1 and S2, na?
no, so in that, if suppose they if S2 suppose control S1, so I'm asking, can holding and S2 combinedly control? Like even can S2 also control in that case S1?
No, because S2 is having only 20% stake in S1. So management will be of holding only.
No, so if holding holds 50% and S2 holds 20%, so combined is
Sir, if you
70%.
see, then how can S1 and S2 be subsidiaries of H?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So
Yes,
you are
yes.
going in a wrong direction. Now this happens. In AS18, the people try to put all possible masalas and I try to ask, sir, what will happen if this is done? What will happen if this is done? So that is why I said that whatever example you are framing, please try to put in this diagrams, in these examples. After that, you come to me. Because when you put your example in this diagram, you will get your answer immediately.
Thank you, sir.
Right? Yeah. Yes, Shweta.
Sir, in the third example, both A and B are related parties of C. Am I right, sir? In the fourth example, H is H the related party, sir?
Yes, because H is the holding for S1 and S2. And S1 and S2 are the fellow subsidiaries. So all the three are related to each other. All the three are related.
Is there any any percentage limit, sir, that holding company should have more than 50 or something like that?
So it is always greater than 50 to make anybody your subsidiary.
Yes, sir.
Anything greater than 50.
Okay, sir.
Even if I hold 50.5% stake, I become the holding company.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Somebody is asking in the third example, if C is directly controlling D, then sir, only C and D will be related. Because A and B are the associates. Yes. So C and D only will be related. A and B will not be related to D. No. No. So let's go for the second point now. What is the second point? Again, here two-way relation. So sir, there is always two-way relation, no one-way relation. So please understand, associates and joint ventures of the reporting enterprise. So reporting enterprise is the one who is making the financial statements, right? So from the reporting enterprise point of view, from the reporting enterprises point of view, all its associates and all its joint ventures are related parties. Now, when the second point comes, associate word comes, associate means you are having greater than or equal to 20% stake in another company. So when you have greater than or equal to 20% stake in another company, you are becoming related party. So in the first situation, in the first case, they are saying about direct control. Direct control means having greater than 50. So the relevance of having greater than 50% reduces when you read the second point. Because now second point says that even if you are having greater than or equal to 20% stake, you will still be related party. Right? So when second point comes in, scope widens. Right? So before going ahead, please understand this. Your second point will be done in 1 minute only. I will not make it complicated at all. Now see, there is one company called as A Limited and other company called as B Limited. Correct? Now A Limited invested in B Limited greater than or equal to 20% stake. Correct? So for A, comma, B Limited is associate company, and for B, comma, A Limited is the investing company, right? And sir, A will be related to B and B will also be related to A, right? So when A makes its financial statements, A will say associate is related party. And when B will make the financial statement, B will say investing company is related party. Two-way relations, right? So for A, B Limited is the associate. So A will say my associate B is related party. And when B will make the balance sheet, B will say A is my investor, A is my investing company, related party. Correct? Okay. First point is done. 30 seconds only it took. Now we'll see the next point, which is talking about joint venture. Right? Now, sir, there is one company called as N Limited, and there is one company called as K Limited. Correct? Both of them together formed joint venture, naming joint venture of NK. Right? So can I say K Limited is called as the co-venturer and N Limited is also called as the co-venturer? Yes or no? Correct? Please understand, can I say both the co-venturer control the joint venture? Both the co-venturer will control this joint venture? Yes or no? So as per the second point, co-venturer are related to joint venture. Co-venturer are related to joint venture, as well as when joint venture will make the financial statements, joint venture will also say that yes, co-venturers are also related to me. So in simple terms, I will say that joint venture related to co-venturers and co-venturers are related to joint venture. So two-way relation, sir. Sir, we will always talk about two-way relation. But sir, my question to you, will N Limited and K Limited, who are co-venturers, become related party because of the joint venture? Is that possible? Can N Limited and K Limited be treated as related parties also because they commonly control the joint venture? Is it possible? Can the co-venturers be related parties? The answer is no. Why no? Because it is not covered in the definition. Because when I read the second point for you, nowhere it is written that co-venturers are related. So I'll just add up a point over here. Co-venturers are not related to each others. I hope you are getting this point. So, sir, I will conclude the second point. Associate companies are related to each other. Joint ventures are related to the co-venturers, and co-venturers are related to the joint venture. But both the co-venturers, or they say there are three co-venturers, the co-venturers can never be related to one another because of the joint venture. If they are having some other relation, that is a different story. But because of the joint venture, you cannot say that the co-venturers are related. I hope you are understanding my point. Right? Now I will read. Have you noted this down? You can take a rough note of this. Please note this down. Noted? So let us go ahead. I'm just reading the second point for you now because I've cracked the second point before reading it. Right? So we'll now read the point number 2. What it says: associates and joint ventures of the reporting enterprise. So if you are making your financial statements, so if you are having any associates or if you are in joint venture, that joint venture and the associate is related to you. That is one-way relation. Now the two-way relation starts. And the investing party or the venturer in respect of which the reporting enterprise is an associate or a joint venture. Means when the associate company which is making its financial statements, so that associate is called as the reporting enterprise. So the associate when makes its financial statement will say that investing party is related to me. And when the joint venture makes its financial statements, joint venture will say that the venturers are related party to me, because they are the venturers in respect of reporting enterprise. Now, who is the reporting enterprise? The joint venture. So when joint venture is making the financial statements, joint venture will say that venturers are related to me. Investing party with respect to the reporting enterprise. Now, the reporting enterprise is the associate company. Right? So when B Limited, in our example, when B Limited, the associate company, makes the financial statement, B Limited will say that A Limited, my investing party, is related to me. I hope you are getting the point. Sir, in simple terms, for second point, in simple words, you remember, associate and investing company, both are related to each other. Joint venture and co-venturers are related to each other. But sir, can I say in this point, there is nowhere written that co-venturers are related? Is it anywhere written co-venturers are related? No, sir, co-venturers are not related. So I made the example same as the point. Now you need not refer these examples because I have given you separate example over here, right? So not even requirement of referring to this example. I'm not again going for this example because I've already given you separate examples. So you can understand this by linking it with the other examples. One third, if you want, again say there is one joint venture, right, and two co-venturers are there. One is a reporting enterprise which is making the financial statement, and the other co-venturer. So what we say, joint venture related to the reporting enterprise, joint venture relating to the other co-venturer, right? And other co-venturer will also be related to joint venture. And since we are the reporting enterprise, we are making our financial statement, we will also be related to joint venture. But here I have written co-venturers not related. So the two co-venturers are not related. Correct? So here we complete with point number 1 and point number 2. I hope point number 2 is also clear with the help of these examples. Right? Now third, fourth and fifth are very simple, sir. Very simple. It will take only 5 minutes. Right? Now, in point number 1 and 2, majorly companies are covered because holding, subsidiary, associate relations, joint ventures come across companies only. Now from point number 3, individuals will come. Persons, individual person. Mr. A, Mr. B, Miss A, Miss B, and so on. Individuals will come. Fourth point also, individuals will come. Right? What is point number 3? Please understand, very simple. Individuals owning directly or indirectly any substantial interest in the voting power of the reporting enterprise that gives them control or significant influence over the enterprise, and relatives of any such individual. Relatives definition is given: spouse, son, daughter, brother, sister, father, and mother. Means in short, parents, spouse, and brother, sister, and children. Now please understand what is this statement. We'll go with an example that will be much better to understand. Now let us take my name, Mr. Karan. Correct? Mr. Karan holds greater than or equal to 20% in B Limited. Correct? So Karan has significant influence on B Limited. So Karan and B Limited are related parties, right? If Karan holds greater than 50%, then Karan controls B Limited. Correct? So either I am having greater than or equal to 20%. So I will say that I have a significant influence on the enterprise. So that enterprise and I are related. Correct? Correct? And if I am having greater than 50%, sir, I am the controlling authority, sir. I am the major stakeholder. Mukesh Ambani having almost 70% stake in Reliance. So Mukesh Ambani is related party to Reliance Industries Limited, and Reliance Industries Limited is also a related party to Mukesh Ambani. right? Now this is called as direct. Now what is indirect? Karan plus Karan's wife. Karan plus Karan's wife holds greater than equal to 20% or greater than 50% in B Limited, then Karan and wife both are related parties, right? And all relatives are also related parties to be limited. Means technically I have a son, right? And if my son is giving consultancy services to be limited, so my son will also be a related party to be limited, because his father and his mother both are having a stake, a substantial stake in B Limited. So here individual holding should be considered, and if the family members are combinedly holding, you should check the combined holding. Now say for example, I hold only 12% in B Limited. Can I say I am having substantial interest? No, sir. 12% is not substantial. 20 or more is substantial. Then what we'll see, I will check my wife's holding. I will check how much is my wife holding. Sir, my wife is holding 7%. So add 12 plus 7. How much it is? Sir, 19. Still not a related party. But sir, my son holds 2%. So Karan plus wife plus son. 3 people together hold how much? 21%. Correct? So we can say that we indirectly have a significant influence because together we are having. So indirectly I'll say. So technically, I, my wife, my son, all three are related parties to the enterprise. And enterprise is also related to us. I hope you are getting this point. Right? I hope you are understanding this. This is point number 3. Right? And if I am alone holding such a high stake in a company, I am to related, that is for sure, but all my family members will also be related. My wife, my son, my daughter, my father, my mother, my brother, my sister, everybody will be considered as a related party. Correct? Please note this down as well. We'll start for the 4th point. 4th point is self-explanatory, sir. You can read it and you can understand by your own also. What it says, key management personnel and relatives of such personnel are those persons who have authority and responsibility for planning, directing and controlling, PDC, planning, directing and controlling the activities of the reporting enterprise. KMP is a person vested with responsibility of planning, directing and controlling the operations of the enterprise. So sir, in simple terms, I'll say, if you are a KMP of an enterprise, you and enterprise are related to each other. Plus, complementary, your entire family is also related to the enterprise. Because when they say relatives means same logic of relative. Means say for example, sir, I am CEO of X Limited, I am CEO of X Limited. So I and X Limited are related to each other. But sir, in complementary, my brother, my wife, my son, my daughter, my father, mother is not there. Everybody will be related. Right? Complementary. As simple as that. But my son and my daughter are minor, so they will not be related. Right? But my brother can be related, but my brother's wife, that is my sister-in-law, she will not be related because she is not there in the definition. Right? So if I give a job to my sister-in-law, right? So from my angle, if you see, she will not be related because I am the KMP over here. Right? So KMP plus the relatives of KMP. right? Now don't check relatives relative. Huh? Don't check relatives relative. Now some person will, sir, for your brother, if you check the relation for your brother, his spouse is there, na sir. So your sister-in-law is spouse of your brother, so she will also be related. Sir, no, that is not possible. You have not. Should not check the relatives relative. No, you should check only KMP and relatives of the KMP. So if I am the CEO of a particular enterprise, technically I will be having the authority of planning things, directing things, as well as controlling the things. So if I have the authority of these three things, I can say that I am a key managerial person of the company. So I and that enterprise will be related to each other, plus complementarily, all my relatives, my son, my daughter, my father, my mother, everybody will be related to that company. Right? But plus, sir, please understand, if you don't have the authority of PDC, you cannot be related party because you are not KMP. So directors of the company, please check whether the director has the authority of planning, controlling, and directing. If yes, then the director is a KMP. Right? I'll tell you one thing. Sir, a peon of the company, office boy of the company, if he has the authority of PDC, planning, directing, and controlling, then the office boy can also be considered as a KMP, sir. Designation is not important, sir. What post you are working, that is not important. Important is whether you can plan decisions, you can direct the decision makings, and you can control the decisions that have been taken place. If that is done, you are a KMP. Right? So just checking the designation and giving the answer will not be correct. I hope you are getting this point. And now we go for the last point, sir. Last point. Enterprises over which enterprises can see, again, after telling such clearly, again people ask some same type of queries. Sir, can a director be there without any such powers? Why not? Why not? There are full-time directors working full-time for the company, but they are not having the power of PDC. Only their opinions will be asked, but they don't have powers, sir. Yes, it is completely fair. Now, see, KMP is only planning things. Answer is no. I have already told you, I should have PDC, planning, directing, and controlling. Means you are only in the planning commission, but you are not there in the directing and controlling commission. Then no. But sir, technically, please use your common sense. I don't know where you leave your common sense and come, sir. I think you keep your brain in the fridge for some time. Please understand one thing. If you are a KMP, technically you have the authority of these things. If you are a CEO of the company, sir, majority of the decision makings of the company are under your control only. Right? You will have people working under you and they will be reporting you. So technically you will have a KMP will have all the three things. Now please don't ask me if a KMP is having directing powers, then they will have all the three. If all the three are not there, you are not a KMP, sir. Right? As simple as that. Last point. Enterprises over which individuals or key management personnel described as above is able to exercise significant influence means there is a common KMP in two enterprises, and this common KMP can have significant influence in both these enterprises. Then technically both the enterprises become related party. Both the enterprises become related party. Now please see over here. Mr. A, right? A Limited, B Limited. Mr. A is KMP and Mr. A is KMP over here, right? So because of common Mr. A and B are called as what? Related party, right? Then you have Mr. B, you have Mr. B, Mr. B, I'll take the X limited, Y limited, correct? X limited. अरे यार. Shit. Thank God. I'll do it in another page. Huh. What I was saying, Mr. A, common KMP in A limited, B limited. So A and B limited are related parties. Why? So simple, because Mr. A, since he is a KMP in both the companies, can I say he will have significant influence over both the companies? Right? And because of his significant influence, A and B will become related parties. Right? Second example, Mr. X, common shareholder, common shareholder with greater than or equal to 20%, means substantial shareholder, substantial interest in two companies, X limited, Y limited. So can I say because Mr. X is having greater than or equal to 20% stake in both these companies, Mr. X will have significant influence on both of them. Means Mr. X can compel X limited to sell goods to Y at a predetermined price, and Y can be compelled to buy the goods from X. Why? Because Mr. X has a substantial interest in both of them, and Mr. X can have a significant influence on both of these companies. So technically, X and Y limited are related party. I hope you are getting this point. Correct? Right? So generally now in point number 5, what comes, enterprises with common shareholders, means common shareholder means they should have greater than or equal to 20% stake in both, or two enterprises with common KMP, or two enterprises with a common stake, means Mr. A is a shareholder in one company and Mr. A is KMP in another company. That is also possible. Those are called as enterprises owned by the KMP. Means, say for example, Mr. Karan, right? I have a company, Karan Limited, 100% stake, and I am the CEO of, say, BHEL Limited. Correct? Now, can I say Mr. A is a 100% stakeholder of Karan Limited and he is the CEO? That is nothing but KMP. CEOs are KMP, sir, of BHEL Limited. So technically, Karan Limited and BHEL Limited are also related parties. Why? Because Mr. A has influence on both of them. So because Mr. Karan can have influence on both of them, both these, if they are doing transactions, they are definitely related parties. Correct? So here we complete all the 5 points of the related party definition. Noted? Yes.
So company and CEO both are related party, and even CEO's relatives, like you said, son, daughter, and all, even those are related to this company. But the only thing is they can't take any decisions related to company, right? Though being a related party.
That depends. Now, if I am the CEO, right, I may take some consultation with my son also. Na? If my son is major, obviously. Why
Okay, they
can't? I
can
can take some
directly.
opinion from him.
Okay, means because of this related parties relationship, they can directly still
See,
influence
I'll tell
other.
you one thing. See, I'll tell you one thing. If I am KMP, I am related to that company, correct? So
Correct.
what transaction I do with the company, sir? Company pays me remuneration every month. That is the transaction between us, and that is a related party transaction, correct? Now, what is company giving to my son? Nothing. My son doesn't even come anywhere to the company. So my son and company are related, but there are no transactions. So no disclosure is required. But if tomorrow my son is getting a job in this company, so the salary paid by the company to my son will become a related party transaction.
Yes, sir.
Right? And that has to be reported.
Yes, got it, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it should be greater than 20% stake. But here I am having 100% stake. I am the complete owner of Karan Limited. I am the single alone shareholder holding 100% stake, 1% company, OPC. Right? So let us go ahead now. Now this is the definition I have put, which is related to the definition which I have taught you separately. So you can link that with this also. Right? Only the thing is, I have named them differently. That is the only point. I have already talked about classification of related parties. Related parties can be either by control or by significant influence. Control can be derived by ownership of 51%, control over board of directors, or control by substantial interest in voting power. Then significant influence can be derived by having KMPs or material intercompany transactions, as we saw in point number 5. Means intercompanies transact with each other and they have common KMP. The next point is exceptions of related party. Now, these are important points. Reason this can be asked in exam in the form of a situation, and they will ask you whether they are related parties or not. That is why this is very important. Means here there are certain transactions that you are doing with someone, but that is not considered as a related party. Point number 1. There are two companies who have a director in common, but the director is not able to influence the mutual dealing between the companies. Means technically there is one common director in two companies, but sir, the director doesn't have the power of influencing the dealings between two companies. Means technically that director is not a KMP. So if you are not a KMP, then you cannot have a significant influence. So you have a director in common, but the director doesn't have significant influence on both the companies. So technically the two companies cannot be made related parties. They are exceptions. They are not related parties. Right? But if the director is KMP, then yes, the director has significant influence on both the companies. Both the companies will also become related parties as per point number 5 that we learned in the definition. A single customer or supplier or franchisor or distributor or general agent with whom enterprise transactions are in significant volume. Means, sir, there are two companies and we have a common customer, or we have a common supplier, or we have a common distributor of materials. Sir, having a common distributor between two companies or having a common single large customer between two companies doesn't make the two companies or two enterprises related. Means I am also supplying materials to JioMart, right? Mr. X is also a supplier to JioMart. Now, can I say JioMart is a common customer for me and Mr. X also? So we cannot be related, sir. If you see in that way, so many people will become related to each other then. So this is practically an exception. Provider of finance. So whosoever is providing finance to you means, for example, I have taken a loan from State Bank of India. So can I say State Bank of India is a provider of finance? So sir, I and State Bank of India are not related. Correct? I and State Bank of India are not related. Trade unions. In your enterprise, in your company, you may have certain trade unions associated with you. So having a trade union in your enterprise, you and trade unions are not related parties, point number one. Plus, it can also be that in two different enterprises, there is one common trade union. That is possible. Generally, political parties are only the trade unions in particular company, labor union and all. So if two companies have a common labor union or a trade union, those two companies cannot be made a related party, not possible. Right? All the government departments and agencies are not related parties to each other. One government department, PWD department, say for example, Public Works Department is not related to Water Department. Electricity Department is not related to say Sanitation Department. Both are government departments or agencies only, but not related. State controlled enterprises as regards related party relationships with other state controlled enterprise means if Maharashtra government is if Maharashtra government is controlling two companies, means Maharashtra government holds or is the stakeholder of two companies, right? Both the companies, A Limited, B Limited, are held by the state government. They are state government controlled enterprises. They cannot be related parties. I hope you are understanding this point, right? So these are the 6 examples or 6 points which are considered as exceptions to related parties. So what they can do is in exam they will try to make up a case study by putting any of these points, and they will ask you whether it is a related party or not. So you have to answer accordingly. So if you have read these points, you will be definitely in a position to answer, right? So central controlled, yes, because state controlled is only given. So central controlled enterprises can become related parties. Good point, Mr. Aditya. So if central government is holding 2 or more enterprises, those can become related parties, because in exceptions only state government has been excluded. Central government has not been excluded. So central government held companies, LIC is there, right? Then LIC will do business with railways, IRCTC, right? So technically they can be made related parties to each other because central government is the major stakeholder. Greater than 50% holding is with the central government, right? Then some examples of the related party transactions. You see what is there in the first point here. First point is self-explanatory. There are two companies with a common director, but the director doesn't have influential powers. So technically that director cannot significantly influence two companies. So if he cannot significantly influence two companies, how can you make the two companies related parties? Even why that is I've written is not a KMP. The director is not a KMP. So if director is not a KMP, then he cannot control, he cannot have a significant influence on both these companies. So companies cannot be made related parties. I hope you are getting this point. See, sometimes now before asking a query, you should once or twice read the statements, because some statements are self-explanatory. If you understand, no problem. If still after reading 2 times you are not understanding, then definitely you have to raise your query. Right now, internet issue and all, please ask after 8:30, sir. I have to complete a certain point. Or today we anyhow there from after 8:30, madam. Please wait. Some examples of related party transactions. What are the examples? Sir, what transactions can be done? Sir, simple day-to-day transactions. Purchase or sale of goods. Purchase or sale of fixed assets between two enterprises. Rendering or receiving services, means one enterprise gives service to other. leasing or hire purchase agreements means assets are leased by one company to another company, or assets are sold on hire purchase basis. You will learn lease and hire purchase in detail in AS 19. So I'm not talking about hire purchase and lease today, but just understand one company is leasing an asset to another company, right? So leasing is also one of the transaction that can take place. Transfer of research and development. So I have developed something, I have researched and developed a particular patent or a technology that I am transferring to other company for a price. That is called as what? Transfer of research and development. So I have researched something, I've developed the product, and that technology I'm transferring obviously at a price, not for free. So that is also one type of transaction. Guarantees and collaterals. Guarantees and collaterals are always with respect to loans. Means, for example, if my subsidiary is taking a loan, the holding company is the guarantor over there, or the holding company has given its securities or its assets as a collateral security or as a collateral mortgage. So guarantees and collateral means you have to become a guarantor for a loan. So if for example, if a subsidiary is taking a loan, the holding can become the guarantor. If holding has become a guarantor, such transactions are also called as what? A related party transaction. So these are the few examples of related party transactions. Right? All simple points, no rocket science. Right? Guarantees and collaterals means for a loan, you have to give some guarantees. Guarantees means nothing but you have to give something in writing that if he doesn't pay, I will pay. Right? If subsidiary do not pay, holding will pay. Or holding will give some collateral securities. Collateral security means giving a mortgage for a particular loan. That is called as collaterals. So if you go to a bank and you say that I want a loan, first thing the bank manager will ask you is, what is collateral that you are giving? Collateral means parallel to your loan. You have to give some security which will obviously be at a higher value than the loan value. That is called as a collateral. Right? So these are certain transactions. Last point, disclosures. This entire thing can be asked as a question in exam, and this has already been asked. What are the disclosure requirements of AS 18? And you have to write down the entire thing that you can see on your screen, only up to here, not what is written in red color. This becomes your answer for 5 marks. And sir, it is very simple, right? Now, what they say, sir, if you are a related party because of control, if you are a related party because of control, then even if no transaction has been done, even if you don't do any transaction, still the name of the related party and the nature of relationship is compulsorily to be disclosed. If you are related because of control means what? Holding subsidiary associates. Holding subsidiary and associates are control. So if X Limited and Y Limited are holding and subsidiary, and even if they don't do any transactions, still X Limited and Y Limited both will disclose the names of the related party, means X Limited will disclose Y Limited is my related party, and nature of relation. What is the nature? Y Limited is subsidiary. Y Limited is subsidiary. And what will Y Limited disclose? Y Limited will say X Limited is my related party. And what is the nature? X Limited is my holding company. So that is compulsorily to be disclosed. But if the existence of relation is because of significant influence, common shareholders, common KMP, right? If that is the case, because of significant influence, then if no transactions are done, no disclosures are required. You need not disclose anything, right? But if transactions are done, between related parties, then it doesn't matter whether the relation is because of control or because of significant influence. You have to disclose all these 7 to 10 points. So what it says, if related party transactions have been taken place during the year due to control or significant influence, all these following information should be disclosed. So what is it? Sir, first, name of the related party. Second, description of relation. How you are related, that name and description. Description of the nature of transaction, means whether it is purchase, sale of goods, whether it is of services, whether it is of guarantee or collateral. That is called as description of the nature of transaction. Volume of the transaction, either as an amount or as an appropriate proportion. Volume means in terms of money, sir. What is the value of the transaction? So transaction value is 5 crore, 10 crore, 12 crore. Or if it is barter exchange, means I am giving raw material and taking finished goods, then you have to give the proportion in terms of weightage. Means 100 tons raw material given, 80 tons finished goods received. That is what you have to disclose, either in terms of amount or in any other proportion, whatever is available. Then any other element of the transaction which is essential for understanding the financial statement, means if you have some special points with respect to a transaction which can help the better understanding of a transaction, you have to disclose that also. Means, say for example, if I am selling goods to my subsidiary, then I have some important points as in, we are giving 40% discount to subsidiary, we are giving 3 months credit to subsidiary. So these are some additional points to understand the transaction. So those additional elements are also to be disclosed. Then outstanding receivables and payables and provisions for doubtful debts. Means, sir, if transactions are done between you and the related party, definitely there will be a debtor or a creditor. Means if I have sold goods, then the related party will be a debtor. If I have purchased goods, then the related party will be my creditor. So whatever is the balance of debtor and creditor with respect to related party, that is what you need to disclose. Plus, if you have created any provision for doubtful debts, that also has to be disclosed. Right? Simple. Last, amount written off or written back in the period in respect of debts due from or to related parties. Sir, means if a related party was your debtor and you have written off them, debtor written off, bad debts written off, please disclose that. If there is a related party and he is your creditor and you have written off the creditor, please disclose that. Right? And you also have to disclose if any bad debts was written off earlier, but now it is recovered. That is called as return back. Right? So when you write back the bad debts, writing back the bad debts means what? Bad debts recovered. Right? So in short, I will say bad debts written off has to be disclosed. Bad debts recovered should be disclosed. Creditors written off should be disclosed. And creditors written back. Creditors written back means the creditor is again stand up, now give my money back. That is called as creditors written back. If there is any situation like this happening, you have to disclose this also. So these are your total disclosure requirements with respect to AS 18, and this has been asked, I think, 2 times in exam as per your new syllabus. They have asked 2 times this question. So there is no option, but you have to by heart this. But if you read it for 3 or 4 times, automatically you will remember this. Right? So technically, we complete with the standard. Only 2 star or 2 points extra I have to discuss, because that will help you in question solving. Correct? Now, please understand the last 2 points, and the topic is over. I'll require only 1 minute. What it says, if there is some confidentiality clause, then the related parties need not disclose such transactions as per AS 18. So if there is any confidentiality between 2 enterprises which should not be made public, then even if a related party transaction is done, no need to disclose. Disclosures not required. I'll give you an example for this. Sir, Government of India gave me arms and ammunition contract. Government of India gives me arms and ammunition contract. correct? So I've got this contract, but the supplier of raw material is my subsidiary, right? So can I say the supply of raw material between me and my subsidiary should be a related party transaction and it should be disclosed? Yes or no? But sir, Government of India has already given the confidentiality clause that please don't make it public that we have given you such a big contract. So even the transactions are done between me and my subsidiary, we are related parties. These transactions need not be disclosed. Right? So obviously when a confidentiality clause is put, it will be given by some top authority, government authority or some government agency. As a company, we cannot decide, yes, this is top secret, so nobody should know. Not allowed. It has to be given by some government official or some authority. Right? Or else everybody will do the same. Everybody will know, sir, this is confidential, so we will not disclose. That's not possible. That is one point. And last point, only transactions which are done when parties are related parties should be disclosed. Comma, during the reporting period. Means only transactions which are done when the parties are related parties should be disclosed during the reporting period. Means in the reporting period, at a particular point of time, you are related parties. But after that, you are no more related parties. Means say for example, A Limited and B Limited for the financial year 2021 are related parties only from April to August. Right? But from September, they are no more related parties. But they still do business with each other. So technically, the transactions done from April to August will only be reported as related party transactions. Because from September onwards, they are not related parties. So even if they are doing transactions, that will not be considered as a related party transaction. Right? Because this point had arisen in one of the question. So please understand, if you are related party for whatever period and any transaction is done between that period, those are only related party transaction. The transactions done in the period in which you are not the related parties are not related party transactions. I hope you understand both these situations. Right? So I end up my session over here. Right? People, if you want to ask any doubt or query, I'm available for the next 10 minutes. You can please ask up because it is 8:30, so officially I have to end the session. But if anybody has a doubt or query, you can please ask it. Sir, can you please send the summary notes here again? Even I can't find it in the Telegram channel. Yesterday only they updated. Individually, which branch, Hemant, which branch you are? Suman madam doesn't take care for Hubli. Who's there for Hubli? Is it Vinayak sir for Hubli? Is it Vinayak sir for Hubli? Please reply, Hemant. Yes, sir.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So you told about the last point, sir, on the last two-star point. Sir, in that related parties for only some period means at the end of the year, A and B are not related, sir. At the end of the financial year, then the company should show it as a related party, sir? No.
Sir, are you related party as of 31st March?
No, sir.
So no need of showing it. But if during the year you have done any related party transaction, then it has to be shown.
Okay, sir. Only that transaction part alone.
Only for that period. Means if you are, as I already told you, if you are a related party from April to June, whatever transactions are done between April to June will only be shown as a related party transaction. From July onwards, even if you are doing business, that will not be considered as a related party transaction.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right? So you can be related for 1 month also. There is no clause that you have to be related for full 12 months. So even if for 1 month you are related, after that you are not related. It is possible. Yes, Vansh.
So the extension of the point you just explained, like suppose if there are two associates from April to September, and after September the associate got shelved, but still there are some transaction related to that associate, and if that transaction occur after the reporting period, so will that be shown under AS 18, even though the transaction are related to the associates?
No. What is the meaning of transaction entered after reporting period? Means after 31st March.
No, sir. After September, like after, September reporting period ends on September, but before shelving, after ending the reporting period, still some transactions are due. And if that occur after the reporting period, will that come under AS 18, sir?
Sir, you are going, sir, first a minute. You know, sir, what is reporting period? Sir, reporting period is the time period for which you make the financial statements. That is from 1st April to 31st March. Right? That is first point. Second point, if say in the month of September you are not related, right? After September, that is from August, if you are doing any new transactions, those will not be reported. But if any transaction which was continued, which was available in September but got completed in October, it has to be reported, sir. I think he's lost the connection. Again, he will join and again he will ask me the same thing. Next, anybody else? Anybody else? Yeah, you're welcome, madam. Anybody else? I think Vansh is gone. He's stuck. Anybody else, or shall I wind